you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Here.
Mr. Kubicki?
Here. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve the signing of the minutes, the regular meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes. And I will also make a motion that we approve the special meeting minutes of December 29th, 2022. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes. Okay, then we move it to open forum. Do we have anybody signing for open forum? Anybody?
There's Susan. Hello,
Susan's here. Okay.
Sorry, I'm late.
All right, then let's reload and do roll call again. Let's we're gonna,
Mr. Lamar?
we're gonna roll
sorry.
call again.
Are we doing it? Yes.
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll reload on this, the approval. We're gonna make a motion to approve the signing of the meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
And I make a motion to approve the special meeting minutes of December 29th, 2022. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Now we go to open forum.
I don't think anyone is signed in to speak unless, did you want to say anything? I just have a note from a resident, Matt Foote. As a City of Cincinnati dweller living on Britton Avenue, I'm quite impressed with the Columbia Township road crews. Cincinnati won't touch our streets until the very end, and I wish it wasn't that way. I hope Britton and the other streets are annexed back to the CT. Matt and Foote.
Well, thank you, Matt. Nice comments, and we hear it all the time. Those guys are legends.
You can see it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
experience it, right?
You know when
Yeah.
You know
you're in
where
the
they-
township, when you're not.
Our guys have magic powers. Okay. All right, we move on to reports. We start with the fiscal officer's report with the always on point, Ms. Caroline Heakin.
Thank you. The fiscal report for December ending 2022. December was the last month of our budget year. The general fund ended with $3,018,234, which was a decrease of 5% from November. The restricted fund balance was $5,653,981, which was down 2% from November. These funds combined totaled $8,672,215, which is a decrease of 3% from November. Revenues for December were $293,047. Expenses were $597,285. Year-to-date revenues, $9,229,707. Year-to-date expenses, $9,072,146. The Hamilton County second half tax revenues settlement occurred early in August 2022. Typically, the funds are deposited in September. The next semi-annual settlement will occur in April of '23. The voter-approved levy revenues do not cover the cost of the township's public services, such as the ones we were just talking about. Our business revenues cover more than 80% of the cost of public services in Columbia Township. And thanks to Columbia Township's success in attracting and supporting businesses, we're able to continue to provide our community with the exceptional services we have at a lower cost.
Thank you. What I like about your reports is you always have good news, and it's being under budget and ahead of schedule is always good news.
I like giving that
So,
news.
thank you. Okay, any questions about the fiscal officer's report?
No.
May I ask one?
You go ahead. We're so informal today, you can go ahead.
How does the year-end of restricted and unrestricted balance compare to year-end last year?
Well, I don't have that in front of me, Tom, so I will have to get back to you after the meeting. I can pull that up.
And normally you defer right over to Melissa, but she's not
Melissa
here,
would
so.
know
Sorry.
that.
And you certainly can't defer. me
One for Lauren.
You're good. We will get that back to you, though. Okay, and then we move on to the road superintendent's report with the legendary Mr. Dustin Frazier. Anybody have any questions about him and all the great work he's doing? Anybody got any questions about the report?
I think, did you have anything, Dustin?
No, he's going later. Dustin Frazier.
Oh, Dustin, I'm sorry.
Okay, road superintendent.
okay. Dustin.
My
Dustin
bad.
Montgomery does not
I'm
plow the snow last
sorry,
time I
know.
checked, okay?
I'm sorry.
You usually pull good news, but you missed one, so I want to get, okay, that's all right. Okay. You know, the funny thing is, I always
a question about the roads.
I always enjoy these moments when everything's going to be wrong, when I get to correct the fiscal officer and the administrator. Those are my favorite moments in the township. And they're rare during regular course, but they make me feel good. Okay, any questions about the road superintendent's report?
No.
Okay, then we move on to the administrator's report, and what I want to say, the substituting for the legendary Ms. Taylor, we have our resident services coordinator, and other than our road superintendent and the rest of his crew, she's the most popular person here in Columbia Township.
Stop that.
So Lauren Allison's going to fill in for the administrator.
Yes.
One day she's the fiscal officer, then she's the administrator, you do it all, so welcome.
Thank you. One thing that we wanted to for sure do was give a shout out to our wonderful road crew, Dustin, Jim, Jamie, Rob. They worked their tails off during that horrible once-in-a-generation storm. They stayed overnight, even with the holidays and all that stuff. You know, they really did put us first, and I think that was pretty evident whenever you saw our roads. So thank you to the guys.
And can I add, Christmas Eve, I saw Dustin salting and plowing on Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
and that's just great leadership. He's been in that leadership role for not very long, and you were replacing John Servisi's no easy feat, and he
Right.
leads by example.
Right.
And so him going out and doing that on Christmas Eve was
Agreed.
thought really highly of him.
He's fantastic. They all are fantastic. So thank you guys. And then another thing that we would like to touch on is the Little Miami Scenic Trail. The Columbia Connector extends into Marymount. And Brian Lamar, I think you.
And real quick, the Little Miami Scenic Trail is code word for the bike trail, otherwise known as a
Bike
bike
path.
trail. Nobody's afraid to say that, but I always say that because that's what most people know it as.
Yep.
They want to refer to it as a scenic trail because a lot of people don't ride bikes, but it's legendarily called the bike trail. But go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, it's certainly a passion of mine, so thank you. The Little Miami Scenic Trail, the bike trail, which is behind 50 West, will connect to Murray Path, which was opened about a year and a half ago or so, which currently connects to Wasson Way, and a lot of progress has been made on connecting those two. And so there's two parts of it. One of them is in Columbia Township, and lots of studies and engineering work and options have been done. There has been public input, which I read a lot of the public input recently, and so they're taking that to account as they make recommendations on the path through Columbia Township, which is basically from 50 West, behind 50 West along the river, somehow getting up the hill on Highway 50. Then Marymount, the village of Marymount, takes over and will connect it to the Murray Path, which is at Plainville and Murray. And so there's just a lot of public input and a lot of work that's been done with our friends in Marymount and Tri-State Trails and Great Parks.
Is it definitive that Marymount's going to go up near the Murray Path? Because I know there was some talk about going through the downtown district.
They have to eventually connect. They have not decided which direction they're going to connect. I think there's a recommendation. The recommendation, tentatively, is the northern route, which would continue on Murray. There's some challenges with that, particularly from homeowners, which you'd expect. A path going through someone's front yard creates lots of challenges with safety and traffic and things like that. So Marymount will figure that out. There's lots of public input, and they're very engaged in the village of Marymount, as you can imagine. And so we're just kind of listening, and if they ask us for input, we provide it, but it's really their call. So, but yeah, so a lot of progress is being made. It will be slow as we have a grant for the Columbia Township portion, so it will not be completed till I think 2025. So it's going to be about 3 years really in planning and acquiring land and getting it up the hill.
Okay,
But thank you.
okay, is that all of you? Okay, so any other questions about the administrator's report from Ms. Allison? Okay, then we move on to the Economic Development Quarterly Report with a different Dustin than our Dustin Frazier, not the least of but one of our favorite Dustins, Dustin Montgomery. We have two superstar Dustins. How about that?
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the fourth quarterly report for 2022 is not only a quarterly report for the quarter, but also it's a kind of a year report, look back as a highlight for the whole year. And in that regard, I want to point out that for 2022, the township saw 10 businesses either locate or expand. You'll find all of those listed on the following page 3 of the report, but I just wanted to kind of highlight that. Also want to highlight the fact that 2 of the shopping centers in the township are fully leased now, which I think is a really positive thing to hear, given the fact that you're starting to see some, other retail areas struggle.
Specifically which?
Specifically, Marymount Promenade, which is on the Worcester Pike District, and Worcester at Walton Creek, which is also in the Worcester Pike District. And I think that speaks to the fact that that district is got strong demographics that surround it, well-known and good communities surround it, and also the significant traffic that you see on the Worcester Pike District, all of which I think contributes to the success of those, and also the mix. You've got a lot of positive things happening with 50 West and the bike trail, and you've got activity there all the time. You've got some new housing, and that leads me to my my third bullet point that I wanted to highlight is formerly Creekside Manor, which is a boutique apartment neighborhood community, which is now known as Tributary 50. They started construction in the Worcester Pike Commercial District, and later in the report, I've got some construction photos and an updated rendering for what that's going to look like when it's completed.
Nice.
So, again, a lot of positive good news, making some positive strides towards making some comebacks where we had seen some decline in spaces during COVID.
It looks like an excellent drone picture there. I'm impressed.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
And, we always give shout outs to some of the businesses. You mentioned 50 West, but really the catalyst to me that kind of really kicked off the Marymount Promenade's turnaround of great success is Ace Hardware. A good local operator. Those are great guys, are great operators. So is Jeff Ayers and the Jersey Mike's guys, the Mango Tree guys. Servati's is coming in, but really that to me was the changing of the, really kicking off the momentum of Marymount Promenade, because again, I'm in commercial real estate development by trade, and you go look, and that was a little bit of an overbuilt strip center historically, meaning it's a large strip center that's unanchored, meaning you don't have a Kroger's or a Walmart to draw the crowd in. And lo and behold, in came Ace Hardware and filled a really unique niche that really was the catalyst to get that place going. And then the dominoes fell, and then the rest of the things kind of fell in place. So I see those guys that go in there all the time for mail and everything else, and those guys are rock stars. They do a great job. I know Ace Hardware is a national brand, but it's a lot of local guys that are in there every day, and they do a great job. So
I certainly think it is one of their most successful stores in the area.
Glad to hear that.
For Ace Hardware.
So
Yeah.
kudos to Ace Hardware. We haven't given them a shout out in the past, but those guys were really the catalyst to really become the quasi anchor to that center and expanded and everything else. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So thank you, Dustin. You bring good news too. It's nice when you have full centers and you have money and it's all good. That's
right.
Two good things to have. Okay, any questions about the economic development report?
No.
I just have, I always have general questions. Hopefully you can answer this. I'm not putting you on the spot. I feel like we are doing better than other of our neighbors in the county. I doubt many other shopping centers are completely full like that. Do you have any perspective on how we compare to other parts of the county?
Well, I've not done a look to see, but I will say Columbia Township was one of the few communities that was proactive during COVID to get business grants from the allocated dollars that was given to the township. Not many communities provided those direct grants to businesses that didn't have, drive-throughs and things like that.
Yeah.
So for a business like Jersey Mike's, I'm sure that was significant in offsetting the loss that they saw, during COVID. They may not be there otherwise.
Right.
So I certainly think things like that is definitely in the favor of the township and a tribute to both the community and the leadership of the trustees. But other than that, I don't have any specific answer for you now. I'd have to think about that.
Okay, thank you.
Can't
Sorry
make
about
any
that.
better for full, but that's okay.
Yeah. How do we get better than full?
Thanks for
Thank you.
too. So thanks, Dustin. Great report as always. Thank you for doing everything you do. And also give it up for the economic development team that's part of it too.
Absolutely.
So, good for you.
Well,
Okay, and now we move on to the police report, and as, speaking of substitutes and fill-ins and et cetera, instead of Lieutenant Neighbor, we have, is it Eric Faffel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, stepping in to give us a police report.
On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we have nothing to report. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be the night shift supervisor on patrol, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for keeping us safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And it was a significant day on January 9th was Hug Your Police Officer Day, or what was it called?
National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
Well, thank you on behalf of the trustees and administration.
Thank you.
Belated, happy National Police Law Enforcement Day.
We appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Any questions about the police report? Okay. That we move on to the Little Miami Joint Fire and Rescue District report, as well as we'll combine it with the Deer Park Silverton Fire District report with Mr. Brian Lamar.
I don't have a big report on either of those districts, but I will say for both chiefs, I really commend them for being involved in the community. They're involved in every function that we have. In the last, when we ask them to show up for something, they come every single time, and just had great turnouts at events we've had at specifically at the Fairfax Little Miami Joint Fire District Station that I've attended to recently. And the community, you see them coming back, and I'm sure in Deer Park Silverton it's the same thing. You open those garage doors and the community is starting to come back and do all the fun stuff that you normally do at a firehouse. And so I encourage the community. I think the firefighters enjoy interacting with the community, and so don't be afraid to knock on the door, and they'll probably say, we'll probably let you in and cook you lunch if you want. So I appreciate them so much for doing that. I'm sure that would be the case, but I appreciate them again for everything they do in the community, and being involved and present is a big part of it.
Well, I know both of you guys have made an effort to be proactive and engage in the community, and it doesn't go unnoticed. That's kind of why we do our community events. You kind of think, why do you do it? That's why. So kudos to you guys for the outreach, especially Denny Meter and Mike Sifke, in case anybody doesn't know if we're watching here. But you have taken over the Ridge and Highland District and everything else. I think just having a nice, friendly face is great. And obviously, Mike, some of the things you guys have done recently down there, they're incredible events. So and they'll continue to build and get bigger. So kudos to you guys for doing it. It does make a difference. All right, any questions about the Little Miami, or both the fire district reports? Okay, now we move on to the trustee reports. Anything to report? I'll just throw it up generically. Ron, you've always got something to report.
I said enough already.
You're good.
With the bike path, that was my report, really. We didn't have a police report.
In packing?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's make sure we didn't skip anything. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, the bridge down at the end of my street, Erling Road, we have graffiti. I know that road just goes through our township, but somebody needs to be called to get out there and paint that. I guess it's Brayshaw's office.
You said it's a non-township road, so you'd like to see
It's Old
somebody-
Red Bank Road.
Yeah. no, we
And
probably-
they got the whole side. I don't know if it's gang related, I hope not, but they got it all. It's about as long as this whole wall.
We'll
It's
say something-
ugly.
We'll say something to Dustin. He's usually got a good relationship with some of the other road.
And I
people,
wanted
so-
to swing something by you guys. I know we're doing stuff to the firehouse. I would like to have a mural in our township. Maybe we could put it on the firehouse. I don't know. But we could look for a place. I just think that would be a plus for our township. If you look, Terrace Park has theirs, Ruthven, Springdale, not Springdale.
I think it's definitely I think we've got that in the works for our future, either on the firehouse or somewhere down there. We definitely, we like the mural idea as well. So I think we're just trying to find the perfect place
All
to put
along
it.
Winton, they've got artwork, and Mel said we have a artist that might do it. So,
I think it's a great idea, and I would take it up, and you've got our creative person right here,
okay,
right there with you, so I think she heard it.
good.
So she's the one that can get the dusting and help you out with the graffiti and also help with the
Yeah,
mural.
you don't want me doing any
Yes.
murals. No.
She can make magic happen. Okay, anything else to report?
Nothing for me.
And again, great stuff from our road crews over the holidays, and one of the most challenging elements, I know, just can't say enough, those guys do a great job, and it's nice to hear people from other communities tribute them. That is pretty astonishing, so can't say enough about those guys, they're legendary. So, thank you guys. They make us look good, because if those guys do a good job, it really takes a lot of heat off of us, which is nice. So, okay, we move on to communications. Any questions about some of the communications and articles in the packet?
I do have one thing to say about communications. You're probably not aware of this, but I'm sure Lauren is. In Madison Place, most of Madison Place, the garbage comes on Fridays, and Friday the 23rd was the day of the big storm. So it didn't come for a lot of residents on that Friday the 23rd. And then it didn't come again the Friday the 30th, and so I'm sure we got a lot of people calling about that. And I would encourage people to follow us on social. That's a lot of the ways that we communicate things like that. So I know that we put it out, I'm assuming Lauren put that out on that Friday the 23rd, that they had canceled garbage service, which you'd expect when it's negative 30 degrees out. I know it's not the best time in the world to not have garbage, but don't just follow us for all the fun event pictures and things like that. A lot of times we're putting out important messages and things like that. When it's Christmas, you don't want garbage sitting on the street for a week or sometimes 2 weeks. We get messages out as soon as we can, as soon as we get them from the county or from Rumpke, whoever that is. So please follow us on Facebook just for the updates.
And could you tell them specifically where to go? Columbia Township and Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook, Columbia Township. It's the one, we've got like a little over 400 followers. We're climbing up slowly but surely, but we could always use some more for sure.
Okay.
Would you say that site again, please?
What'd you say?
Facebook
Is
site.
it Facebook?
Yeah, facebook.com, and then just type in Columbia Township in the search bar, and it should be one of the first two that you see up there.
It was such
We
an
just-
inconvenience. It was,
Yeah.
we put that out, and I
Especially like
put
in
it
the
out
holidays,
myself.
you know, how do you get that message out urgently to people who need to know about that? So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, of course, Tom.
All right, and I'm going to go out and take a leap of faith and take the next motion. We go with our motions and to approve the 2023 Board of Trustees monthly meeting dates. I guess, do I need to announce them, the monthly meeting dates of January 10th, February 14th, March 14th, April 11th, May 9th, June 13th, July 11th, August 18th, September 12th, October 10th, November 14th, and December 12th, 4 o'clock each Tuesday each month here at this building. I make a motion to approve those monthly meeting dates. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
yes.
Okay, I wasn't ready for this, but the nomination.
It was-
Go ahead.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, we have to nominate today.
Okay, the nominations and election of Board of Trustees President.
I'd love to nominate David Kubicki to remain as 2023
I'll second.
Board of Trustees President.
Okay, that made it easy. Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Not sure. Sure.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, nomination of the Board of Trustees Vice President. I make a motion, we nominate Brian Lamar. Do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting because we're not really supposed to talk to each other about this, but I heard indirectly Brian was okay with it. I just wasn't ready for it tonight. So we've got our act somewhat together.
I mean, I'll say you've done a great job of service to this township.
I appreciate it.
And being the president, and you should absolutely maintain that. And I appreciate the service that you've given and leadership. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. And so have you as vice president, and so have you as our longest tenured trustee.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud of this team, and I'm proud of the trust they have in each other. Even if we don't agree on everything, we trust each other, which is paramount to all the successful things we've got going on. And I just take that everywhere. So, All right, and next, the appointment of representative to the Little Miami Joint Fire and Rescue Board. We need 2, and I make a recommendation that we appoint Melissa Taylor and also Brian Lamar. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your service for that. Okay, and then make an appointment of the representative of the HC Hamilton County Regional Planning Partnership. I make a motion that we appoint, we need 1. I'll make a motion we appoint, I'm happy to appoint Brian Lamar if he'll take it. I was not ready for this, but can we appoint you?
Now, is it now?
Or do we
Who was
appoint
on
now?
it this year?
That's what I'm wondering. I thought.
You know,
Was it now?
I was on TIRC.
all right, I make a motion, we appoint Mel. I agree with you, and if one of
Yeah.
the trustees need to be appointed, we will let that sit in the wings. My secondary would be Brian Lamar, unless he wants to defer to me. But I would, let's appoint Melissa, unless for some reason, I mean, do you know how that works, Dustin?
I am not familiar with the planning partnerships requirements.
I've gone to some of them where they go approve tax abatements and things, that's what they're talking about?
Yeah.
No, not at the planning partnership. That's going to be things related to zoning,
Okay, then
and like zoning variances, things like that.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion, we appoint Melissa, and then unless she corrects us on that one. So I'll make a motion, we appoint Melissa. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, and then a confirmation of the JED's board chairperson and representative, 1 chair and 2 reps. I don't.
Last year, I was the chair.
Okay, and I'm good with you remaining as the chair, and then the 2 reps I would think would be Melissa and I think.
No, Susan and you last year.
Susan and you, me next year,
Yeah.
last year? Okay, then
Yeah.
do we have a choice then, that they need 3?
I don't know if you have to be an elected official to be on the JEDZ board. I'm not certain of that.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion for now, unless we have a player to be named later. I make a motion that the confirmation of the JED's board chairperson representatives, that we have Brian Lamar be the chair, Susan Hughes and David Kubicki be the 2 reps. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
See, when we don't have Melissa here to kind of show us around, we fall apart a little
She's
bit.
probably watching this like,
I know.
shaking my head.
We've fallen apart.
We have one job.
Melissa, we miss you, honey. All right, now for the resolutions. Do I want to hand this off to you to read these?
Yeah, we only have one resolution, and it's an emergency. It's going to be Resolution 2301, which is requesting the county auditor to make advance payment of taxes. You have read the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We have dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause to make the resolution effective immediately?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, the emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the payment of bills, bank reconciliation, and financial reports. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion for the signing of minutes and resolutions. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
For exception,
Go ahead.
the meeting dates, you have August 18th.
Mhm.
That is a Friday. I think you mean August 15th, which is a Tuesday.
We might have had a special meeting, so I'm not positive of that, but I hear you. And,
Is the 15th the second Tuesday of the month?
15th is the second
Then
Tuesday
that
of
is,
the month.
I imagine that is
But we also
correct.
had a special meeting too, didn't we?
This past August, we moved the meeting because of the Taste of Columbia Township.
No, this is for next year.
This
Right.
is for next year.
So I think that's the plan, is to, for August, have a different date. I don't think we had aligned on that being a Friday, so I think that Tom is probably right, but it may not be that second Tuesday in August.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
I
I
don't
think we-
care if I'm right or not, I just want to point out
Sure.
that the
Thank you.
18th is a Friday, and you guys typically don't do that.
You're observant.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa, please. Okay, I'll make a motion of the signing of the minutes and resolutions. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, and any last second things before we get ready to adjourn? Anybody have anything to say? Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Things to sign.
Thank you.
Slow.